Turning to commodities, and the big players are all coming out with quarterly production reports. So let's get a bit of a report card so far. Peter O'Connor is joining us from Shaw and Partners. Welcome, Peter. Nice to see you there again. Are we at peak quarterlies or approaching, or where does the dial sit? How tired are you is what I'm asking.
Nadine, it's good to be back. Yes, I'm very tired. It's a busy period, and it rolls straight into the financial results as well, so it doesn't stop for the next month to 6 weeks. So that said, there's a lot of information to judge where companies are, to get a sense of their relative scorecards and absolute scorecards. And we had a pretty busy week last week with 6 of the top 20 miners coming out locally with numbers, some preliminary numbers and some their full data sets. So it was quite a busy week, and this week a really full week with about 10 major companies or thereabouts coming out as well. So a lot of conference calls, a lot of data points to join up, and a lot of guidance to follow to see where companies are at. Standout so far though, on the low light side, Rio Tinto didn't deliver a good set of numbers on Friday. Probably not entirely surprising given they've been giving messaging and hinting over the last quarter or so, but it's a bigger issue. It harks back to the Duke and Gorge issue last year, changes in management. But if you look at their iron ore business generally, it's plateaued for 7 years. So it's not just a 1 year phenomenon where they're not growing their business. It's been since 2014. So a lot of capital being invested and not a lot of upside from that. So they really need, as Johan, the CEO, is doing, is revisiting the business, changing the senior staff, looking at the way they do their activities, be it iron ore or copper elsewhere, but they're facing issues in iron ore, which are the most public here, but also in Mongolia in copper, which the numbers were weak, also in the US in copper, and also in Latin America. So a poor scorecard. The stock's been ranked accordingly, both in the UK on Friday night and Australia on Friday, and again today, and earnings have been adjusted lower. They lowered their guidance in 4 key areas: iron ore, copper, bauxite, and the mineral sands unit. So earnings will still be quite buoyant given the iron ore price backdrop, well over $200 per tonne, but the underlying delivery on an operational basis, which Rio can manage and control, that's not looking as good as it has in the past, because they've always been the benchmark mining company in terms of their operations, and BHP was always a laggard. And it's quite surprising this quarterly with BHP out tomorrow, we'll probably see the opposite. BHP is delivering. They're now the lowest cost producer of iron ore in the world. Who would have thought that a couple of years ago? So there's some key messages on the positive side. Some of the smaller companies have done really well also, be it Sandfire or Western Areas and even Alumina Limited, putting out decent numbers and surprising in some cases, but also upgrading guidance, which was the case with Alumina's partner on Friday when they updated both their alumina and bauxite production. So there are some signs of opportunity from a company-specific basis. Rio definitely a low light. And this week we've got a busy night tonight with Vale, the Brazilian iron ore producer, Anglo American out of the UK, and also BHP first thing tomorrow morning. So we'll get a lot more data sets on iron ore over the next 24 hours just to see if the supply side really is constrained or it's more about demand. And I think it's going to be a function that's more been about demand and China growth.
Yeah, really interesting. So Peter, just to clarify, is Rio Tinto a buy, a hold, or a sell in your view now?
Well, I've had on hold for a little while, Nadine, anticipating the change to iron ore price and what it means going forward. And right now, today, it's more on the sell side of a hold than the buy side of a hold, if I could put it that cheekily to you. But the things that keep it a little bit more buoyant are the fact its commodity exposure is a little bit better than just being a pure iron ore play like a Vale in Brazil or a Fortescue in Australia. So aluminium's doing incredibly well. It's probably doing the best in terms of its revenue than it has since they acquired the business in 2007. So they should post much better numbers for aluminium, which will help offset some of the weakness I've talked about. Copper, with price staying over $4 a pound likewise, but it's a big headwind, iron ore price and their iron ore business operationally. So the reason for the hold is there are better options out there, BHP in particular, but they'll do okay. They're going to pay some big capital management at this result, a large dividend. So a lot of people are holding on for that next dividend, hence the hold in my rating. But I think next step from here is definitely not a buy. It's most likely a sell on valuation grounds and just in terms of where earnings are going, not where they've been.
Well, keep us up to date. Peter O'Connor from Shaw and Partners. You're a busy man. We'll let you get back to it in preparation for Anglo, Vale and BHP. Thank you.